teach on his website because the book Beyond Kabbalah that you have, he sold over 100 of them already. It's been a month, and he said Rabbi Bart Zadok evidently bought one and said it was the most awesome piece of work he's seen in a long time. And Rabbi Baxt is going to teach out of the Leshem expositions of the Tree of Knowledge. And what we learn a lot of out of the Leshem is on the expositions of the Tohu. And of course they intertwine really good. So what that means is, as Rabbi Bax does those classes, he'll send those classes to me. And so we will get classes on the Leshem, on the Tree of Knowledge, that are going to just, I mean, it's so deep and out there that I don't know that it's ever been taught to a Gentile, much less an English, much less a Gentile clientele, so to speak. So good for him, which is going to be good for us because we get all that, and for a rabbi as knowledgeable in Kabbalah as Bart Zadok to.
Well, they're from the same school, the same teachers.
But if y'all remember, when I taught the exposition of the Histal Shalut, that was Bart Zadok. That was from Bart Zadok. So, and that was very in-depth. So, and I think you're going to get that on there. We taught that 2 years ago. That's.
Do you want me to put it on there?
Exposition, the Histal Shalut.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's if you don't have a map, you have no idea where you're going.
Well, that's 25. So
Lessons.
that'll take a couple of times.
So y'all need to study that. And what that is, it's this board, how this board got to this point. But this is our 5th or 6th board. And this was our last one, so we just kind of left it because this was kind of the end all be all of everything. But like we'd have the board and we'd erase it and we'd start all over and and we'd add to it. Mm-hmm. And so really everything on that is this. To know where that came from. And so, and that's everything, that's all of that is prior to Genesis 1, so to speak. All right? We will start with our prayer sheet. Today we get to study Torah for the sake of heaven. And we would like to dedicate our Torah study. If anybody has a person they'd like to put on there?
Oh, just a little update, progress report. Little Brandon is now almost 14 pounds, and he is a little 6'2". He's 7 months old, I think.
That's awesome.
This is
Brandon Baker.
Brendan Baker. The last time I wrote down, he was 9 pounds. So he's up to 16, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And what do you weigh birth? 1?
1 something.
Okay.
A little bit under 2.
If you'll put Amber Gibson's daughter, I don't know her first name.
We'll just call her Bot.
I'll say her name's Brooke French.
Please leave your message.
All right, John. Okay. I put Cody Lovejoy on there. He's a boy that plays ball with my son Garrett. He hurt his elbow really bad. He may be out for the whole season. He was a all conference player last year and was going to get drafted and everything this year. So it's been pretty bad. So we would like to dedicate this Torah study to Cody Lovejoy, to all the patients at Texas Oncology, to Amber Gibson's Bot, to Michelle Magnuson, to Carolyn Graves, to Sam Peak, to Maria Wanstaff, to Greg Davis and his family, Holly Harris and her family, R.C. Upmore and her family, and all the families in West affected by the tragedy. Steve, Debbie, and Brandon Matus, to Russell's Back, that's doing very good. To the Philippines and Midwest, and the Naval Base, and Moore, Oklahoma, and Granbury, Texas, and all the places where tragedy has occurred this year. To Landon Baker, who is now a whopping 16-pounder. To David Douglas, Rosalind Bat-Elise, Noel Cordoza, who went to look for a job yesterday
All right.
in Arizona. She moved to Arizona, suffered with throat cancer, bad.
Wow.
She's now in remission and doing great. Charles David, Eve Landers, Bill Kirk, Edward Hubson, Natalie Compton, Casey Belize, David Scott, Brandon Gibbons, Natalie Friedman, and those are the people we'd like for the merit of this Torah to effect. Baruch Hashem. Ruler of the universe and master of all masters, Father of mercy and forgiveness, we thank you, our God and the God of our fathers, by bowing down and kneeling, that you brought us closer to your Torah and your holy word, and that you enable us to take part in the secrets of your holy Torah. How worthy are we that you grant us with such a big favor. That is the reason we plead before you, that you will forgive and acquit all of our sins, and that they should not bring separation between you and us. May it be your will before you, our God and the God of our fathers, that you will awaken and prepare our hearts to love and revere you, and may you listen to our utterances and open our closed hearts to the hidden studies of your Torah. And may our study be pleasant before your place of honor as an aroma of sweet incense. And may you emanate to us light from the source of our soul to all of our being. And may the sparks of your holy servants, through which you revealed your wisdom to the world, shine. May their merit and the merit of their fathers and the merit of their Torah and holiness support us, so we shall not stumble through our study. And by their merit enlighten our eyes in our learning, as stated by King David, the sweet singer of Israel, open my eyes so that I will see the wonders from your Torah. Because from his mouth God gives wisdom and understanding. May the utterance of my mouth and the thoughts of my heart find favor before you, God, my strength and my Redeemer. Amen. All right. Noah. Anybody have questions from last week? Anything? No question is stupid. Everybody?
All right, this is a question. We've got Adam, Seth, Enoch, Keter, Hukmah, Then you've got Enoch, Methuselah, Lamech, Noah, Teferet, Netzach, Hod, Yesod. Where is Hesed and Guvurot? Who is Hesed and Guvurot?
I don't know.
Okay.
There's 10 of them, so we'd have to count down to 10, and they're going to go in order.
Okay. Well, that I can do that research.
Yeah. Adam, Seth, Enoch, Kenan, Mahalalel, Jared, Enoch, Methuselah, Lamech, Noah.
So that was Kenan. Kenan and
Mal,
M-A-L.
M-A-H, Ma, as in Adam.
Okay.
Ma, 45 name.
Okay.
A-L, Mal, Al, L. Mahalalel. Okay, he's got Ma, the 45 name, L, the whole thing. And then Jared, and then Enoch. Okay, Enoch's profession, Enoch was a cobbler. The Peshat. Enoch was a cobbler. He made shoes. And he was, all right. So if I just said that right there, Kabbalistically, what are we talking about? He made Sandalphon. Okay, he's an aspect of Sandalphon, but Elijah is Sandalphon because as he's taken up first, and he becomes a Catriel. When Elijah's taken up, he becomes Sandalphon. But at this point in the juncture, since he's here, he's Sandalphonic, right? But why would he be a cobbler? Why would he be dealing with shoes?
The feet.
The soul?
The soul feet.
The feet. Because feet are,
Mahut.
there you go. All right, and where is the hole?
Mahut.
In Malchut. So, Peshat, he was a cobbler. And every time he stitched a lace, he stitched up the hole in Malchut.
Mm.
See, once you know the sewed, then when you say, oh, he was a cobbler, well, sure he was. What else could he have been? You see? And so what we really need to learn today, and here's something that really hit me hard today during class was you hear people talk in the Torah and you say, okay, this is a Peshat, and then when you're talking on the sod, well, that's metaphor. Right? It's metaphoric. Well, it's actually the other way around. The sod is the actual truth, the actual concreteness, and the Torah is the actual metaphor.
Are you saying the
The
Peshat?
Peshat is the actual metaphor.
Okay.
They called it a tree. We know it wasn't a tree. What else are they going to call it?
Yeah.
Okay? They call it an ark. Why don't they call it a boat? Nowhere in there is it listed as a boat. Why do we think it's a boat? And we're going to find out that God told him to put the door on the side. There is no way that you can have a boat with a door in the side of it and it float. It doesn't make any sense. So what I like to do is I like to look for patterns in Torah, and then when I find something in that pattern that doesn't make any sense, there's where the secret is. Who else do we know that was put in an ark?
Moses.
Moses was put in an ark, and it was covered with pitch on the inside and out and all that stuff, right? And he was put in the Nile. But was it a boat? No. Did it act as a boat? Yeah. All right? Because we know we're dealing with water. We're dealing with water there. We're dealing with water here. So what did we just see? We saw the same iteration happen again. We see it happening again. All right? Now, what we're going to learn is that an ark is really a coffin. Right? And when you come out of the coffin, everything is resurrected and new. So we see that same thing happen with Moses, and we see the exact same thing happen with Noah. Now, Moses was born circumcised, right? It's all we're seeing is the same iteration.
So was he the last man to be born that way?
Yes. Yes. Unless Elijah was, or Samuel was. I'm trying to think. It was Adam, Seth, Enoch, Moses. Yud Hey Vav Hey, just the four.
Yeah.
Okay? All right. So, I kind of wanted to read a little overview that the Zohar gives, but because we're dealing with this parsha, I'm going to read a little bit. I'm going to read verse 9 through 14 because that's what we're going to be dealing with. We're really going to be dealing with, through 16. We're really going to only be dealing with verses 14 through 16 today. Then we're going to come back and catch 9 through 14 because there's just some things we have to do. Now, anytime God is going to do anything, He always gives the remedy first before He gives the decree of destruction or anything. He'll always say, here's the fix, or here's the safety, or here's this. Take the paschal lamb, kill it, put the blood on the deal, go inside your house, don't come out, because I'm going to have the death angel come by. He doesn't say, I'm going to have the death angel come by, so don't come outside. He always gives the remedy first. It'll be the same thing in the world to come. Toward the end of the age, toward the end of days, toward any of that. God will always, the remedy's always first. And then the decree. That's the way the Torah works. Okay? It's always mercy and then judgment. Alright? So, here's what it says. These are the offspring of Noah. Noah was a righteous man, perfect in his generation. Noah walked with God. Noah had begotten 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Now the earth had become corrupt before God, and the earth had become filled with robbery. And God saw the earth, and behold, it was corrupt. For all flesh had corrupted its way upon the earth. God said to Noah, the end of all flesh has come before me, for the earth is filled with robbery through them. And behold, I'm about to destroy them from the earth. Make for yourself an ark of gopher wood, and make the ark with compartments. And cover it inside and out with pitch. This is how you should make it. 300 cubits length of the ark, 50 cubits is its width, and 30 cubits is its height. A window you shall make for the ark, and to a cubit finish it from above. Put the entrance of the ark in its side. Make it with bottom, second, and third decks. All right, and that's what we're going to go through today. Now, that sounds very simple. It sounds very mundane, very blah, 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 blah. Don't let that fool you. All right? Now, one of the things we have to start off with, it says, these are the offsprings of Noah. And then it says, Noah was a righteous man. You would think it would say, these are the offsprings of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. But it doesn't. So, we're going to go back and visit some of those. I just want y'all to get to thinking. All right? He was perfect in his generations. Noah walked with God. Okay, what was that? You know? How does a man walk with God? All right? He had begotten 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And then it goes straight in to the earth had become corrupt before God. How does the earth become corrupt? Wasn't it the people? See our problem? And then it says the earth had become filled with robbery. How does the earth rob anything? And then God saw the earth, and behold, it was corrupt. For all flesh had corrupted it way upon the earth. Its way upon the earth. So there's something happening to the earth that's causing the earth, or the nukva, or the malchut, to become corrupt. All right? And what we're going to find out is the whole thing has to do with spilling the sea. All right? Because the sea hits the ground, the earth. And the earth takes it. So the earth had become corrupt. All right? So we're gonna visit that probably next time a little bit. All right? And now, and it says the end of all flesh has come before me. Well, whenever you're talking about destruction and stuff like that, who's the angel? Who's the destroyer?
Sam.
Sam. All right. Well, there's one problem. All flesh. Noah was a part of all flesh. All right. So God has a conundrum here. The accuser comes before him and says, hey, obviously all this has gone on. That gives me the power and the authority to come down and to do this. And I want it all. All right? Well, what does God have to do? He has to do a little distraction, a little this and that. Same thing he did with Job. He is going to destroy all of Egypt. All of Egypt included the Hebrews. So what does he do? Hey, have you considered my servant Job? He threw him a bone. So he goes and attacks Job. Well, he's attacking Job. He takes him out. Right? We know the story. So what he's trying to do here is now he's got to conceal something in order for something to reveal itself, which is the destruction. And so this is where the ark comes in. The ark is the hermetically sealed container that he's going to put Noah in to where the angel of destruction cannot see him. The Zohar plainly says that when destruction comes about, do not leave your house to look at it, because the angel is given authority to destroy anything it sees. Okay? So you can't be big and bad and go think you're going to whip it, because you will fail. All right? There's many stories in the Talmud about people who tried. All right? So, what's going on in our story is we're dealing with Bina, Ema. We know that Abba is always joined with Ema. They're always in constant union. The problem is we have the bottom half of Ema is, anybody remember? Tevuna. And the bottom half of Abba is
Israel Saba.
Israel Saba. Okay? So these are the two components that are in operation. They're the lower two components. And they're not always in union. They're trying to get in union. Because when they come in union, then they will make Zeranpin. Now, the Nukva, the daughter, comes from the mother. But who is the daughter's protector? Her daddy. Always. Daddy's little girl. All right? So we're going to see as we go through the story how, because the two Hays were here, Rachel and Leah were here. The two Hays were here before the Va. Before Ma. The light of Ma. Like we were talking about the other day. The two Hays were here. It was because a Hay is spelled H-E-Y. Right? Hay. Right? Well, there's two Hays in there. Hey, hey. Can be spelled hey, hey. All right? Instead of just one Hay. So, because it's spelled like that, the second Hay is the 52, the daughter. All right? That's why what I was saying, once Zeranpin is made in the middle, the son, so to speak, once she is rectified, she comes back up here and is the crown of his head, and then the two Hays are back where they were supposed to be before the shattering of the vessels in the fall. That's why the women will be elevated back up. That's why we went through that a little bit last week. All right? So, and I said that because I wanted to explain. Stacy had a question on the name and the 63. Abba is 72. Ema is 63. Okay? 63 is 63 plus let's see. Elohim is 86.
209.
But I was trying to think of what you add. You don't add 26 to it because that doesn't equal 86. But anyway, another day for that. But Elohim, the judgment is side of Bina.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So that's that side. But Ema, the mother, the divine mother, is the creative. That's why Elohim is written in and Elohim created, and that's why we see the 32 times that's written. All right, those are the 32 paths, the 10 sefirot, and the 22 letters, and so now we're getting to that point. But what's coming about is that we had the shattering of the vessels. Okay? And then God fixes that with the eighth king, which is Adam and Eve, right? But because there's a crack in the aperture there, Adam and Eve basically get attacked by the Lilith, the unmitigated hay, so to speak, the unmitigated Bina, the unmitigated Guvarot, which is more the Tavuna aspect, okay? And so that's the Leah aspect. And as this starts coming down, that automatically is attached to the Rachel aspect, because Rachel is in it as well. The daughter's in with the mother. So it's automatically attached to Eve, right? So then it goes ahead, and if Adam's attached to Eve and it's attached to Eve, Adam's fallen too. So Adam is now have all the and it says that Adam was separated for Eve for 130 years, and in which time he had seminal emissions in the river. What's the river? The river's Yesod Bina. That's Lilith. That's her Yesod. But the Zohar plainly says that it happened at the same time. All right? And who was the tikkun of that? Jacob, because Jacob is Adam. He lived 130 years to fix that. But as we're progressing through our fall, now Enoch comes in, and Enoch is trying to fix the hole in the aperture, that this thing is penetrating itself into, okay, and then he's taken. Once he's completed that, he's taken, because that was a part of Metatron that it attached itself to. So now, what Noah is, he's Yesod, basically of Zah, that is protruding down out of Bina, and he's trying to fix the Rachel component, which is going to be the ark, which is going to be the final Malchut. All right. So he tells him. He says, so here's how you got to do it. All right. So he tells him, and my question started out this week. What's gopher wood? I've never heard of gopher wood. I don't think you can buy gopher wood anywhere. What is gopher wood? You know, when I was growing up, gopher wood was when my dad says, go for that piece of wood over there, and I'd go get it. That was gopher wood, right? Well, we know that everything has inverted itself, okay? And we have Gimel, Pei, Resh, gopher, all right? Those three letters, if you invert them to Pei, Gimel, Resh, that is a dead body. That is a corpse. All right? Pagar is a corpse. Everything outside of that is dead. All right? The soul is the soul is alive, but the body itself is dead. All right? So what he's saying is, what this thing that's going to conceal you is going to be the inverse of death. This gopher wood is actually death that's been inverted. So he's going to make it out of this specific absolute material called gopher wood. All right? Now, this is the part of the tzimtzum. This is part of that whole thing. Because he has to save him from the din, from the heavy guvarot, from the din. And what this is going to do, because din is contracting, this is going to be something that he's in that's contracted. That it won't contract. You know, if it's in a state of contraction, then it's already contracted. All right? So he's got to bring everything to a point, so to speak. So the ark itself is nothing but a point in the Malchut. Within that point is all the 10 Sfirot. All right? But it's just that point. Now, it doesn't say it's a boat. It doesn't say it's a ship. All right? So, we're good there. Now, everything that is there is light. So it has to be clothed in a garment. It can't be naked. It can't uncover its nakedness. Right? And so the garment that it's called is the ark. And so so the ark is the metaphor. It's the garment that it's wrapped in. All right? All right, so that's why I said a while ago, this whole thing is metaphoric. The gopher wood is the covering of this vessel that it's made of that's going to invert death for Moses. Because the death of all flesh was coming. All right? Now, and then he says, with compartments. Why did it say compartments? Why did it... What's the word there? The word is keening. It doesn't say rooms. Doesn't you see? It doesn't say a room, and make it with 250 rooms, and make sure there's a toilet in every room, and all this. It says make compartments. All right. All the creatures that would save. The keening is a word for nest, because Bina is called the nest. So what he's saying is this compartment is going to be under the wings of the Shekhinah as her nest, like a mother sitting on her nest. All right. So this compartment is going to be the nest that Bina is going to take care of her little girl. The mom's stepping in. Although that's the side of judgment coming from, mom's going to step in. Okay? So, this is the Divine Mother nesting on her children. These is what the compartments were. Alright? Kol basar. The word kol basar means all flesh. All, anytime you see all, you're talking Yesod. So all flesh, kill all. But Noah is flesh. The other side complained. All flesh? Why are these different? Why are these different than these? Why is Noah different than these other people? Therefore, the Holy One says to Noah that he is to cover it with pitch, which shuts up the adversary. It's like a glue. All right? Now, it has been given what it is due to it. Remember, you always have to dip your fingers and give the other side its due. So what God told the other side is you've been given your due, more than enough. We're saving one family, and there's however many families that you've been given your due. Shut up. That's the pitch. All right. Now, of course, the pitch is what seals it from the destruction. What's the destruction? The water. The flood is the name of Satan. He is called the flood. All right. It's the actual name of the angel of destruction is the flood. In this particular story. All right. So he tells it all the flesh of the outside you can have. This is the secret of the tzaddik. The tzaddik is the atonement for the wicked. So the tzaddik was saved, but he, because he did what God said to do, he was the atonement for the wicked. All right. Now, why the pitch on the outside? So the klipa could see it. And it is not allowed to go there. It is not allowed to go near the pitch. So, we go back to Moses. They put pitch on the deal of no klipa The other side could not attack Moses when he's in the little thing floating down the river. It had no authority to attack. You know, I always wondered for years, how come a big old Nile crocodile didn't eat that little thing? You know it had to. You know he had to float it through hundreds of them. Shut its mouth. It has to shut its mouth. Okay. So then he says, put it on the inside as well. In the it says covered inside and out with pitch. On the inside, so Noah and his sons would be humbled to know that they are saved by the pitch and not assume that it was on their own merit. Okay? They were protected and in a state of dread, and they were not to have intercourse inside the ark. All right? This did not stop the hot-bloodedness of Ham. He was affected, and the color of his skin, which turned to black, was from the pitch, and was a sign before his eyes, and because he was not careful. Now, this Ham is considered the progenitor of the beginning of the African American race. All right, because Malchut, he was in Malchut. It has no light of its own. It's black, right? So and I was talking to Brandon about this earlier, when an African American does tikkun, he's doing more because of this scenario right here. In other words, if a tzaddik sins, he falls very far because he's so high. So if you're doing tikkun for Ham, which is what caused the destruction in the whole thing, then your elevation is way high. You follow me? It's in direct proportion. So, now, it says to make, he says this is how you should make it. Well, if we go back and we need to go through that, we'll finish up with that. God showed him how to make it with his finger. Because Noah was not a carpenter. He had no idea what he was doing. He had what is the finger? The finger's just sewed. It's all alluding to what he was going to do. Now, it says it has to be 300 cubits long. 300 amma. Amma is the term for cubit. And we're going to get into that just a little bit. I got to follow my note here. Gematria of Kopher. Kopher is the pitch. Okay? Pitch is the same word as atonement, the same root. All right? It's the same word as atonement. And so the unmitigated Guberot, which was the black color, would be the unmitigated atonement. He says, this is what you will do, alluding to the Kopher, the pitch, and the gopher wood. The word Kopher and the word gopher, it's really not gopher, it's gopher. Gopher and Kopher are the same, basically they're the same word. So you have atonement and you have the reverse of the death. This is why he said make it of gopher wood and put the pitch on it. It's the whole salvation thing happening. All right? Now, the Holy One told Noah that he should know what was going on, because these were the signs he gave him. Because Noah knew these words, and he knew what they meant. So because he used this language of Gopher and Kopher, he knew what was going to happen. We're not dealing with fools here. The Song of Songs says, "A cluster of grapes is my lover to me between my breast." Right? This is one of the Song of Songs. Now, the cluster of grapes, Netzach and Hod. This is there's another word here alluding to henna, a cluster of henna. Now, between my breast, if the cluster of grapes are Netzach and Hod, all right, for the male, between my breast, that's a Netzach and Hod for the female. That's her Yesod. All right, so that is what this is how Solomon is explaining what's going on here with Noah. All right, now there is a this word here is also shade. A shade is a demon. Okay, a shad is the breast, and Shaddai is the name of God. So everything that's going on here is hinging on the teetering. There's Shaddai, the one that's going, the Yesod, the one that's going to fix it. There's the shade, the demonic presence that's there, and then there's the Shad, which is the female Yesod, which is the ark that the whole thing is going to be saved in. And that is how much is encoded in that one verse from the Song of Songs about Noah. That's pretty amazing, isn't it? Now, a Kopher is also not only atonement, but it's also a ransom. So what do we? It says give a Kopher to the Kopher to the Kohanim. All right. When is that done? Yom Kippur. So this is a whole this thing.
It really is.
It's all going on right here around Yom Kippur. You know, I guarantee you the dates are identical from the time he told him to make it to the time they entered and all this thing. Mm-hmm. When the destruction hit, you know it's Yom Kippur because the words they're using. Just the word pitch, the Kopher is atonement, ransom, Yom Kippur, the whole thing. All right? Mm-hmm. So all we're seeing is the iteration, the upper iteration before it's getting down to the lower iteration. What's the scapegoat? The scapegoat is the people who are out here. And the one, the lamb that's over here, that's the one that's in the ark. Now, there is a proverb 21:18. It says, "The evildoer will be the atonement for the righteous one." This is the Kopher to the tzaddik. This is where that is talking about as well. So, who is in this Song of Songs? Who is the lover? The lover is Malchut. What does Malchut want more than anything? Yesod, the cluster of grapes. I'll read it again. A cluster of grapes is my lover to me between my breast. That was what Solomon wrote. So he is describing in that one thing the entirety of what's going on with Noah and the ark.
Do you have that verse written down?
No.
Okay.
Okay, the ark. Tavah. It's not called an ark in Hebrew, it's called a tavah. Okay? A tavah is not a boat, and a tavah is not a ship. The inverse of tavah is havah, which means my daughter. The ark is his daughter. It is his tavah. All right? And I kind of explained that a little bit when I was talking about the two Hays and the daughters and the mother, all right? This ark is his daughter. All right? So, and we know this because of Zeh and Zot. This and these. Because the Holy One says, this is how you should make it. Zeh. Zeh is Zah. Zeranpin. Yesod. He showed him, that's the whole finger. Zeh. This is how you make it's Yesod. Even in the Peshat, it's describing the using of the finger. The using of Yesod, of what he's going to do and how he's going to do it. This is what you should do. Why doesn't it say, do this? Instead of, this is how you should make it. All right? Or, why didn't it say, build this, or build that? But the wordage here is very crucial. Because Noah was not a carpenter or a woodhewer, and he did not know how to build anything. Meaning, it's enough that you put your hand on it. Help will come from Yesod HaKodesh, from the holy Yesod of Abba, Daddy, as is known. Now, so all he had to do was touch it. Now, we see that in the golden calf. All they did was touched it, and it built itself. You know? Same thing with the Ark of the Covenant. Same thing with the temple. Same thing with the Mishkan. All they did was had to touch it. The stimulation. All they had to do was engage it. All he had to do was step in the Red Sea, it parted. Right? All he had to do was step in the Jordan River, it parted. All you got to do is touch it. All right? So the ark built itself. Because the Yesod Abba is the ultimate ark. It came down. Atzilut. 72, Big Daddy came down. Okay? Through Ema to protect his daughter. Daddy stepped in. Okay? Now, we're going to see how this all fits together in a little bit. This is the higher dimensional Yesod. As above, so below. So as soon as he touched it, as below, so above. Came down. Alright? This is the place of the Malchut. It is the Netzach Hod Yesod of Zah. From that she was built. So the Netzach Hod Yesod of Zah is what Abba used to build the final Malchut of it. And then he says, and so he divided it into sections. Therefore, this is the secret of the 300 amot, or amma, and the 30 in height. All right. It doesn't matter whether it's vertical or horizontal. So, the 300, if this is 10, 100, well, this is 1, and this is 10. There's 10 in each. And that's I'll call you, so make it 300 wide. 3 times 10, because that's in the level of Yitzhak, times 10 is 300.
300, yeah, okay.
Okay? So, what did he say? He's saying, Yesod Abba is telling Zeranpin, we're calling him Noah right now, all right, how you're going to make it is 300 wide, and that's how code Yesod. All right? And then 30 high. The 30 high is the Netzach Hod Yesod, obviously Malchut is always attached. And this 3, 10. 1, 2, 3, 10. It's the same thing, just the lower. So it's 30, 300 the upper, 30 the Malchut. Okay? And 50 wide. Now, why 50 wide? 5 and 5. 10 commandments, right? 5 Hasidim, 5 Guvarot. But why is it 50? Because they're Hug. It's just, although it's 10, it's really just 5. 5, 10 Surot, 50. So these coordinates are not the length and the height and the width and the depth of the boat. They are cosmic dimensions of the Yesod of Zer Anpin and Nukva. Alright? This is the place of the Hug via Yesod. They are intertwined. The essence of the 5 is the 5 mitigated Guvarot. Now, he goes on. He says, a window you shall make for the ark. You know, why does the ark need a window?
To feed Og.
Well, but it says Og was fed through an aperture. It doesn't say a window.
To let in fresh air.
All right? When it got musty in there from all the animal poop. A window is a sohar. This word is used called sohar. A sohar is a precious stone. It is also a window. So, is it a precious stone or is it a window? Both these and these are the words of the living God. Now, a window is to let light in. The precious stone was illumination. What do we know about the word stone? Foundation,
Stone. Yeah.
stone. So what is this? This is the attachment of Yesod Abba through Ema. Going to keep it all alive. This is what this window is. It's a sohar. All right? So, it is both. A window was used after the flood so they could get out. All right? During the 40 days, it was a precious stone. On the Peshat, it was a skylight. All right? But also on the Peshat, it was a radiant stone. Now, the secret is that the Ramdu goes on and says, and this is the secret of the Treva, the Ark, the Malchut. Malchut has 2 places in which it can receive. It can receive from Bina, from the Sohar, from Bina, which is the upper hay, which is the window. And it can receive from Yesod that enters through her. This is called the Evan Trovar, Sohar. Evan Trovar, this is the precious gem. This illuminates it from within because Yesod is inside Malchut. So this is the illumination he had on the inside of the ark and the illumination from outside the ark. During the flood, it was Yesod because they were inside. After the flood, for 40, it only flooded for 40 days. Mm-hmm. And we're going to get into why 40 days because the earth had amassed 40 lashes. It took 40 lashes to destroy it. So that was the final mem, basically. And so that's the whole 40. But then, so after the 40 days, then the light was from Bina. Daddy took care of him when Guvarot, when Bina was executing. After the execution, Mom took care. Okay? Now, and this is a verse from Proverbs. It says, better is a close neighbor than a faraway brother. What he's talking about here is the protection of Abba in the ark. Better is a close neighbor than a faraway brother, somebody that can't do anything. All right? Now, the word Sohar sounds like Zohar. They're the same term. They mean brilliance. So this was a brilliant light, so to speak. And a Sohar comes from the word Sarah, which means pain and suffering, for 40 days. This is the exile. So, this window told Noah several things. There's going to be pain and suffering for 40 days. During that 40 days, Yesod Abba is going to take care of you. After that 40 days, Yesod Ima is going to take care of you. So just in the word that he used to Noah, he had the whole formula of how it was going to happen and what was going to happen. Okay? Now, we see the word cubit, but we know the word is Amma. All right? And what is the word Amma? It's a combination of the word Abba and Ima. Amma. So if you take the A from Abba and the Ma from Ima, and you put them together because they're in union, now just because he used that word Amma, he knew exactly the coordinates and exactly who was going to take care of it. All in one swoop. All right? Now, it says that he is to fasten it a cubit from above. Now, the pashat of the sod is this was sitting on the top, and it was built in a triangle so that the water would run off. This window, there would be a window to get illumination, but the water would run off. But as we know, the sod of the sod, it was way more than a window. It was a precious stone. It was Hasidim and Guvarot, Abba, father and mother. It was the whole hoop principle going on here. Now, the gematria of Amma is 46. All right? And so, what happens is if you have the 72 name, of Abba, and you remove Yud He Vav He out of it, you get 46. All right? Now, because Hava, Eve, is 19, her gematria is 19. If you take the gematria of Amma, the cubit of 46, and you add 19, who's the Nukva, who's this Malchut is Eve, the fixing of Eve, and you put it together, you get 65. 65 is the gematria of Adonai. This is the fixing of Adonai. This is the cosmic work that's going on in just building the ark. Nothing more. All right, now, we're almost done here. It says put an entrance in the ark in its side. Okay? It doesn't say a door. It says an entrance. What in the world is going on? On the side. We know that if a boat has a big aperture on the side of it, water is going to come in. How in the world can you seal up a door of a wooden ark made of gopher wood, even though you put pitch and tar around it, and it's actually going to keep the most violent storm from ever hitting the earth, and no water's going to get in there and sink that thing? So you see how the garment camouflages but when you really look at it, you go, yeah, that really. Why do people not believe in the story? Because they don't know what's going, because they read the story and they go, that sounds like a fairy tale. That's the biggest children's church story I've ever heard. You know, there ain't no way, I had a buddy tell me one thing, there ain't no way, even if it rained for 40 days and 40 nights, that it would flood the earth. You know? He's right. You know? But because it's camouflaging, it's garmenting the soul, it's really not meant to be taken literally. Let the Peshat be the Peshat. Let it be it was a boat. Let it be that. But all it's doing is camouflaging what's going on. It's concealing the inner beauty so that it's not naked. That's all it's doing. All right? So, and it said put it on its side. He wants so what is this? This is Yesod Malchut. This is her opening. Her Yesod. And it's on the side. And we're going to find out why is it on the side. Now, the Rambam, who is very, halakhic, is not really wanting to get into the esoteric part of anything. He says, the ark was large, and they made it large to play down the miracle that really happened, and the measurements were this and that, so show the ark, but the answer is no. The measurements were defining the cosmic dimensions, not the size of a boat. All right? This is her Yesod. This is her door. This is the opening to her tent. This is her Yesod. It is in the middle. Why was he told to place it on the side? Now, the Ramdu goes into a big long thing where he says she was laying on her left side. Why would he say she was laying on her left side?
Left side's Guru.
And which side did the fall happen to?
On the Guru side. left
Everything
side.
fell to the left. So she's laying on her left side.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so he says, he says that Hashem says, put it on her side. Which side?
Her left side.
On her left side. That's facing the back. Because back to back, remember, Adam and Eve were made back to back. All right? But so if she's fallen and he's having to join her, all right, and he's having to do it secretly, he's having to come in through the back door. This is the cosmic spooning of the union. This is the door that is supposed to be put on her side, on its side. Because God is saving this whole thing through the back side, through the back door, if you will. Mm-hmm. All right? Because everybody's looking at the front. All the evil's looking at the front, so God's coming in through the back side. All right? And so that's how the union's going to take place. That's why there is a opening, not a door, but an opening on her side, on its side of Malchut, of the ark, of the boat, of the whatever. All right? So, Malchut is the secret of the one little point. Malchut is one. See, Zah is 6. Although she starts out of one point, because she is in a katnut state, she is in a contracted state of 1, but inside are her 10. But Zah has 6. All right? Now, she is on the left side to align the din essence. She's aligning that heavy din Guvarot essence. Thus her Yesod has to be on that side. All right? And so, what happens when Noah enters the ark? Berea, the word intercourse. When Yesod of Zah enters the ark on the left side, what happens? What happens if Hasidim enters Din?
It mitigates it.
Total mitigation. Total mitigation. And this is what's fixing to happen. All right? And so, as soon as they're in union, she has waters from below, he has waters from above. As soon as he enters the ark, it's on. And so, because they're in union, no union can happen inside there from below. Right? That's why they were forbidden to have union. What day does that sound like?
Yom Kippur.
Yom Kippur. Right? So, she is on her side. This is the classic spooning position. All right? Now, and we'll finish with this. Make it with a bottom, a second, and a third deck. So, if she is 1 point, and he says, make her with a bottom, a second, and a third deck, what do y'all think that would be? Because she has to contain 10, but she doesn't, he's building her.
The levels?
Yeah. The bottom deck, Netzach, Hod, Yesod.
Mm-hmm.
The second deck, Guvro, Teferet, Hesed. And the third deck, Bina, Keter, Ekma.
Yeah.
Those are the 3 decks of the ark.
That's the 3 triads of the spheroids.
Those are the 3 decks of the ark. Now, and so what happens? He takes the 1 point, which is Malchut. He builds 3 decks for her, and then union. Right? And it says that these were to protect the things that were to be hidden away. Right? The antidote was made before the melee. So God made all of this, and that is just in these verses.
Well, didn't he do that in all of the cases where like the cure for the snake bite is its own venom?
Yeah.
You know, I mean
Yeah.
that seems like that's a pattern throughout his whole thinking.
It's the thing. It's the thing. Mercy precedes judgment. All right? Make for yourself an ark of gopher wood, and make the ark with compartments and cover it inside and out with pitch. This is how you should make it. 300 cubits in length is the ark, 50 cubits is its width, 30 cubits is its height. A window you shall make in the ark, and a cubit finished above it. Put the entrance of the ark in its side, and make it with a bottom, second, and third decks. That's the Peshat. And what we just went through is the sod of what is actually going on with that whole rigmarole.
Yeah. It's the spherotic structures about Yom Kippur, or the Yom Kippur. The spherotic structure associated with Yom Kippur.
It's the whole iteration of the whole thing. It's the tikkun of the fall. The tikkun of the fall. And so what happens with the tikkun of the fall? The only thing that happened was Ham. All right? And so we know that it says what? That Ham did what to Noah?
Castrated.
Ham castrated Noah. Now, that may sound like
Awful.
a sod. A sod. But that's only maybe the Peshat of the sod. All right? So, what happens is, we're going to find out he has 3 sons. Shem, Ham, and Japheth. These three guys are the Mohim. 1, 2, 3. They're the three columns, but they're the Keter Hokmah Bina of Yesod of Zeranpin. They're the Mohim, they're the brain, okay, of Zah, of his Yesod. You know, a man thinks with two heads, right? These guys, must have lost John there. These guys are the Mohim of the Yesod of Noah. And so, if Ham draws the light over to this side, to the left side, okay, and because this is associated with Hod and this is associated with Netzach, so if he draws all this over here and you're dealing, and it pulls it down to Hod, and her feet descend to death, that's Hod. What he does is he takes that light and he pulls it over to the side of Guba Road. And that's considered castration. See what I'm saying? Let's call it a spiritual castration. Pulling the light to the left. All right? Instead of pulling the light to instead of the light being balanced and equal when they come out, the light is over here on the left side. And so because it's over there, then Noah has to say, because you did this, and what do we find out as soon as that happens? The Tower of Babel. What is the Tower of Babel? It's a Yesod. And it's the same thing as the steeples that we see today. It's that same energy. It's that same thing being drawn over there. All right? And so was it a castration? Yes, but that's metaphoric even. That's a garment of the sod covering up what's really going on.
Well, he removed his Yesod, which
But what does a Yesod look like in Atzilut?
well, yeah.
Now, it says, the Ari breaks it down and says, here's the thing. I'll read it to you. We'll end with this. We've gone about an hour and a half. Now, I cued in on this because of the window. We have a window, and we see our window come back up. But in the world of Yetzirah, it says, and Abimelech looked in through the window. When he was staying in the land of the Philistine, Isaac told the ruler, Abimelech, that Rebekah was his sister. He feared that if he had told him the truth, that Rebekah was his wife, Abimelech would kill him in order to take her. But we are told Abimelech looked into their tents through the window, saw them engaging in marital intercourse, and thus discovered that they were husband and wife. Abimelech signifies the evil of the Philistines, and the fact that he was able to observe their union between Isaac and Rebekah means that their level of intercourse was in some way exposed or vulnerable to the intrusion of evil. Now, this is what it says. This is the Uri. Isaac engaged in marital relations on the level of a Asiya, where it is not intended to be such intercourse. For that is the level of lesbianism. This is where the snake is envied, for he is on the level of a Asiya. Now, what does that mean? We live in the world of a Asiya. All right? So, anytime there is intercourse that happens in the world of a Asiya, it is considered homosexuality. All right? And here's how that works. Because Asiya is the Nukva, it's female. Lilith extends all the way down to Asiya. Female and female, lesbianism. That's what he's talking about there. So, all homosexuality is considered sex in Asiya. All holy union or righteous union is considered sex in Yetzirah. Yetzirah. You are elevating yourself to the level of Yetzirah when you are husband and wife in union. Now, that's why it comes back to the point that I was making the other day, where it says that if that's why spilling the seed goes to Asiya, goes down to the earth, where in union with the Nukva is in Yetzirah. That's why you make souls either way. If you're having union in the holy way, where your emissions are in the Nukva, you're creating angels. You're creating things in Yetzirah, advocates for you. If you're not, then you're creating demonic presences to attack you, which is lesbianism, which is Lilith. She's feeding off that because it's on the earth, it's on the Nukva. All right? So, that brings us to the question of children. Okay? Now, Sarah was barren. Rebecca, barren. Leah, barren. Rachel, barren. And all those men married them because they were, and they knew the Torah, right?
Mm-hmm.
Abraham was barren too. But it says all the souls that they had made, they brought from her.
Mm-hmm.
So, what does that mean? They were having union on a level up here. Right? So, you are having children when you're in holy union because you're on the level of Yetzirah. All right? Only when a child when you have a actual child, you are drawing down a soul from above. That now you create a vessel. That, all right? So one you're creating, one you're drawing down. All right? Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right. So, if you adopt a child, it's the same thing because you're taking care of, you have somebody that has children and you have no children of your own. You're doing the same thing. You're drawing that down, and therefore it has become as if it was yours. So, because there's many scriptures that say, if you don't have children, you lose the world to come. All right? And so what you do is you turn that around, because now we know the rest of the story. You turn that around and you say, well, where are you looking at? Are you looking at Yetzirah? Are you looking at Asiya? Where are you looking at? You know? Because the Zohar goes on to plainly say that had Adam not sinned, there would be no children in the world. Well, yeah, because they'd be all in the Garden of Eden. If Noah had not gotten drunk on the wine, which was basically his mohin, Ham, that's all a part of Noah, okay? So, you know, is it Noah's fault? Yeah. Is it Ham's fault? Yeah. All right? Because that's the mohin of his yesod. All right? So, if Noah hadn't done that, then everybody would live in Berea, in the Gan, right? So, then we go down to the golden calf. Had they not done that, then we wouldn't even be here, because they had taken it all. Moses had taken it all the way back up to Atzilut once again. So it just goes up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down. This is the expansion contraction to the Holy One. That's what it is. So, what we're finding out is that, and what we'll go into a little bit next week is what the corruption was, and how it all got going, and what we're seeing right now on the earth is the exact same thing. Now, because all it is another iteration. That's all it is. So, but it's that energy, that gynergy. It was the very thing, the spilling of the seed and the heavy guvarot. It was the very thing. That's the very thing that God used to invert the whole deal. See, it actually needs that. All right, not from the righteous. All right, and so it's that very thing, because it's more prolific now. It's as prolific now as it was then. Maybe not as bad then, but Sodom and Gomorrah, the whole thing. You know, we don't know what the levels are, but it's that very mode of heavy din, that unmitigated heavy guvarot Lilith female that it's going to use once again, and that's the energy it's going to use to propel us into the world to come.
Well, isn't it? I mean, now that there's things with a population of 6 billion, things are fractaled out more. Does that make it weaker? You know, because it's fractaled out, or does it make it more, or is it the same thing?
We have to go back to our basic formula. There's nothing here but He and His name. So the ratio is the ratio is constant. You know, whether
So when they were spilling their seed back then, even with the population, or say what it was, because they were that much closer, so to speak, that it was as devastating as 6 billion people who are fractaled out now and spilling the same, because
it's pyramid effect.
It's the same, so it's the same negative effect.
Exactly. And so what's going to happen is
Causing the same cause.
What's going to happen is, as it gets closer to the Messianic age, what's God going to do? He'll give us a remedy. And you'll be lifted above it. Whatever that is.
Yeah.
Whatever mode.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. So,
Yeah.
what I'm saying is, you don't need to go
Just like the serpent on a tree or whatever.
just like the serpent on the copper serpent, you know?
Yeah.
Here's the copper serpent. Whoever's bitten by a snake, look at that. And God sent fiery serpents among the people. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, the gist of what I'm learning is that the similarity of what we're teaching was exactly what Enoch taught. Don't spill seed. Exactly what Methuselah taught. Exactly what Noah taught. That's exactly what Abraham taught. That's exactly what Shem taught. It's Seth taught. That is the key to the whole thing. You know, it either brings destruction or it saves you. One of the two. Because that is the life force, that is creation. You're fractaling out the shattering of the vessels. If you do, I mean, it's you're just spiraling and lower 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 and lower. All right. So we'll stop there. We went about an hour and a half, and we will get into the corruption of the earth, which is just more of what I'm talking about here. I'll give you one more thing. Now, Adam was considered to have committed sin of the tree of knowledge, 3 cardinal sins: idolatry, illicit sexual relations, and murder. Murder referring to the souls that left him as a seminal emission. The sages say that this is murder because seminal emission is murder because it is squandering his potential life-creating force. All right? Idolatry, because he caused those sparks to cling, because they clung to the evil forces, and now they were contaminated. So separating them from the holiness. Idolatry, bang. All right? Now, Those souls that left him as seminal missions returned in the generation of the flood and made it even worse. All those people that were trying to kill Noah were Adam's kids that had gotten contaminated and clinged to the tohu, to the chaos. Everything was destroyed. All right? When Ham made and Noah made their little problem, did the same, they did the exact same thing. These are the children of the Tower of Babel. And then those children go on to be the children of Sodom and Gomorrah. Those children go on to be Egypt. Same thing. All right? So we see the pattern unfolding, and so we can stop the madness. So the Torah is amazing, and the sages are amazing, and thanks to the Ramdu, we know exactly what was going on there. Rabbi Moshe Dali Balik, and he's one of my favorites. So we're going to continue. I'm going to go through the Parsha. We're going to pick it apart, and then we'll probably maybe cover some of our finish our overview that we didn't finish about the crow and the dove and on all these different things. And we got to get into Og on the ark, and we haven't even touched the Zohar, although I've touched a lot of stuff in it. But so see y'all next Wednesday.